Question 7. Looking back at your preliminary task, what did you feel you have learnt in the progression from it to the full product? Well, I think I've learnt to do my work in more detail, as in now I zoom into the margins of my text and zoom into the dominant images to ensure that it looks exceptionally well organised. Also now, I have now learnt to be accurate within what I do, such as I take more time and consideration of what fonts and colours to use to attract my target audience, as in before within my preliminary task I just chose the colours that I liked and the fonts that I liked, but now I think of what does my target audience like and what would interest them within colours and fonts, so now I take more time and care into doing that for my full product. Also within its photography, I've learnt to take my photos properly within framing, such as before I would just take a photo there. Now I make sure if it's like a medium close-up or a close-up or full-length shot, or if it's like in the centre or more towards the left. Also angles, composition and the lighting of the backgrounds. Before I never used to take much consideration within lighting, but now I have to make sure if the sun is always behind me if I'm outside, or if I'm inside, make sure the light is behind the camera and which colours complement the photos also. Now I focus on the audience, conventions and the planning more as well than before in the preliminary task, such as within the preliminary task I think we did one plan of what we wanted it to look like and then I made it straight away. Yes, now I made a rough, a thumbnail and dummies. In order to, within the thumbnails, it was 4 different types that I wanted it to look like. Then I chose one, then I made it into a rough, and then I made that into a dummy, so it can look exactly how I wanted it to look like. And the more and more I went along, it was more accurate and accurate I got within doing it. And then when it went onto the magazine, I can look at my dummy and see exactly how I wanted it to look like. Also the conventions before within the preliminary task, the only conventions I used to look at is just as long as the dominant images looks like a usual magazine. But now I've learnt within the conventions that it's much more deeper than that within the masthead, barcodes, cover lines and strap lines. I've within that progression of my full magazine, I've learned to take more care within that to make it look very conventional as you would find it as a normal magazine. So within all of these things I've learnt to progress it to make my full product.